plane. A Superboy. A Supergirl.
Or Superman.
This is Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action.
This is Mark Wade, writer of Superman Birthright.
And you're listening to The Krypton Report.
And you're listening to Krypton Report.
Up in the sky, look! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's the Krypton Report!
The All Things Kryptonian podcast, including Superman and Supergirl.
We discuss games, movies, cartoons, TV shows, and comics.
Find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter.
Hi guys, my name is Solomon Archer Patrick. I want you guys to understand Stargirl, the show, and I'm going to talk about Stargirl with you. And it's a really cool show. So, do you watch Stargirl before? It's a really cool show, so check it out. Stargirl's a great show, and I want you to guys say Stargirl is the best one I ever seen because they fight. And when they fight, they end the stream. They destroy the Justice Society of America. Alright? So, watch Stargirl. And what's the last season?
Welcome to the Krypton Report. This episode, we're pretty much not going to talk anything about Superman, which is weird. But we're going to talk some DC, because you know what? We just had 2 shows end, within a week of each other.
What are we going to do with our lives now?
I know.
So I think they ended the same week.
That's the worst.
No, because it ended on the Thursday, and then that following Monday is when Stargirl ended.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyways, we're going to talk about Season 2 of Doom Patrol and Season 1 of Stargirl. And since, I don't ever do a show alone anymore, because that sucked for a period of time, I have the voice of God on Earth, James, with us, and the disciple, Bryan.
Okay. I thought that was Morgan Freeman, but whatever.
Nah, it's more like Tom Hanks. But I just picture
the voice of the devil on Earth, Bryan.
And the crowd goes quiet. But we're hanging out here. So first of all, we'll go around. Just a quick summary. What did you think of Doom Patrol Season 1, Bryan? Just a quick summary.
Season 1 or Season 2?
Season 1. Just your thoughts of it. When Season 1 ended, where were you at as you were preparing for Season 2?
Season 2 had me really excited. I wanted to see what Dorothy could do. I wanted to see what the dangers were of Dorothy. I wanted to see, if they would ever get big again, how they were going to get big again. I wanted to see more of Larry's story. Larry's story was very compelling to me, very interesting to me. I wanted to see if he could ever have his family again. I wanted to see if Rita would ever get more confident, being a hero. I had a lot of hope for the second season. I was interested to see where the villains would go, if it would just be things in Dorothy's mind. I want to see, if we would get some other cameos of other heroes and stuff. How we're going to handle the fact that we can't trust Niles. Niles caused everything. I felt that was just a really interesting concept, how everybody's going to handle things. Because, Cliff had a life. It wasn't a very great life, but Cliff can't have any human feeling. Cliff can't have any taste, any smell. And just knowing that Niles caused all that, I want to see, where Cliff's story would go, with his daughter. I thought it created just a very interesting aspect to see things where things were going to go. I was really excited for it. What do you think, James?
Well, we already discussed Season 1 before, and I loved it.
How could you not? I think with Doom Patrol for me, I was familiar with Grant Morrison's work on Batman, and I absolutely loved it. I love where his head was at with Batman. But I never read Doom Patrol before. I never went into that mind part of Morrison. But watching that show and just seeing just all this craziness just kind of come together, I was just really, really excited. So, Tyler had to step away for a second. So, not sure if you want to go next. Let's check notifications. Okay, so Doom Patrol Season 2. We start off with they are in the painting. Larry's making them pancakes with extreme attention to detail to getting the size right and making sure that they can actually eat it. I thought that was a pretty cool concept. But you see
those
that
tiny pancakes for them were still huge.
they still were.
They were still massive pancakes for those little people.
It was awesome. It was so cool. We see that we see that Cliff is going to feed the rats, and he just spends most of his time just killing rats. I thought that was pretty funny.
Kind of seemed like he was more or less interested in like beating the rats up, just like wailing on them, until he got really upset with the chief, and then he came back wearing the rat skin.
Right. Trying to remember this for the first episode. Oh, the big thing, we see that in order to get them out of the painting, that Niles has to make quite the sacrifice. What was the Knight Templar guy's name?
I just call
Willoughby Kipling.
He was a cross between Constantine and Crowley. Because that's all I can think about.
Willoughby Kipling.
It's has to Constantine, more drunken Constantine, and he gives up his pendant that essentially gives him immortality. And
it's it was a longevity charm.
And then we get to meet Dorothy. So what were your thoughts on Dorothy? Just first impression.
In season 1?
Keeps expanding. Like, I don't even like in Game of Thrones, where I feel like everything just kept expanding. You felt you got some sort of like straight story. So like with season 2, I had hoped to speed up the process of like Cliff's recovery or Rita like finding herself. So I feel like when we got into season 2, I feel like Cliff had jumped backwards to the point where I had messaged James like, did I miss something from season 1? Because they were all talking about how Niles caused their problems. Like, did I miss like a big scene or something where it's revealed that Niles caused Cliff's wreck and all this stuff? And
no, that scene happened.
So I'm like, I just was like, I felt like, did I blank out on stuff?
It wasn't like I said, it wasn't like they went into a description on how he caused everybody's accident.
But like, I kind of feel
it was just said that he was responsible.
But I kind of feel like in season 2, that's all put in the back burner once they're like, oh, Niles is going to die now. And Cliff was still pissed. But everybody else is like, yeah, okay.
Like, the most interesting characters to me, because I feel like the character, like, they all had kind of growth in this season, which I liked. But some of us just felt like slowly redundant. The Sex Patrol episode was interesting, but felt almost more filler. Like, this is the story you're giving me, And the only thing I really am getting out of this episode was Dorothy being tempted to want to grow up and Rita having more of the memory about what her mother was like, which could have been into like another episode. Other than that, like, yeah, you kind of have like Danny the Street moving on with everyone, but I'm like, I don't want to feel like I'm watching a filler episode on a series like this.
I mean, it was still important for the overall story, as you know, for Danny not wanting to be her prison anymore, for Niles and Dorothy. Unfortunately, the way, you know, jump into the end, unfortunately, the way it ends, like, on a cliffhanger, there's no payoff to that.
There's no payoff
to the story itself. So, like, everything that happened this season, like, it all just hit this cliffhanger, and we had no resolution to the entire season.
I feel like Tyler's trying to say the same thing I'm thinking. There's no payoff to anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
we do know that it was cut down by one episode because of COVID. And so episode 9 ends up being the end of the season. So we have to take that into consideration. It's not like where Supergirl had filmed a little bit and they had used some stuff to kind of make some sort of an ending. Flash kind of did the same thing. This was just like, done.
Well, we get introduced to the time. Gosh, what's his name?
Time guy. I mean, that was cool. The villains for this one were cool.
Time.
Like, I felt like we got more like unique villains because we had like almost like a new villain each episode, which was kind of cool.
We had Dr. Time, which like we could have expanded on. We had
Red Jack,
which was a creepy ass character and really interesting character.
Yeah,
I thought he was awesome.
Like,
so not as creepy as the one character in season 1 when they were in the underground in Jane's mind.
Which one are you referring to?
The one that was creepy.
Oh, okay.
Looked like it was like, you know, I can't remember. I don't even have a name. It just looked like a creepy creature.
Fair enough. I'm not
sure which personality you mean.
It wasn't a personality. It was like something else that was down there.
It has to be. Well,
it was in that episode. It was like covered in like a black cloth, like nail like claws. As her and Cliff were running around. Ah, crap! I'll find it later.
Well, I think. Well, how season 2 ended, it could have been that.
How season 2 ended was just Dorothy like, I'm gonna fight, and scene. It's like the way the Woody's Roundup ended. Okay, Woody and Bullseye were.
You don't relate this to Toy Story?
Yes. They were going off to save everyone, and the series was canceled. So no one ever knew if everyone got saved. Okay? And I mean, I give it a pass just because of, like I said, like, we know they got a cut short. Because I even said to you guys, like, man, I don't know if they'll be able to wrap stuff up.
And you know what? I'm probably people probably knew that they were going to have a season 3.
And that's what I'm hoping we'll find out, and then, like, it'll be one of those where the first episode will be what episode 10 should it be, and then the second episode will have, like, a timestamp. Even Titans, like, they muddied up that episode weirdly, but anyways.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like when she walks away from her father and she's automatically a year older.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hair's different, makeup's different, everything.
But in Doom Patrol season 1, Mr. Nobody, what was his end game? Like, what was his whole point to everything?
Dude, I don't remember because to be honest with you,
basically to make Niles suffer, and
right.
there wasn't really like this master plan to like kill Niles and the Doom Patrol. It was basically to make Niles suffer and kind of just be this bad guy that doesn't fulfill any like real like world takeover type plan.
He's more
even though he has like the ability to.
He's more of an antagonist because he's just like antagonizing Niles. And I think Doom Patrol is looked at, and it's one of those things I like about it is it's like a love-hate basically, is because it's more of a character study. each thing's based on character and studying the character more than it is about the team, and it's much more of a different show than, say, the formulaic nature that we've gotten from the CW series. So in that, I get it, but at the same time, it's like sometimes I just want things to happen. Like, and we get that sometimes, but I feel like everybody's story just kind of moves at a snail's pace. But in this season, I feel like we did progress a little farther.
You weren't you weren't as big of a fan of season 1 as I was, and how great of a character study it is.
I love the characters. Like, I really liked Larry's story and his character, and that's something that carried over into season 2. I think they did a much better job, but I almost would have preferred more of it.
Right.
You know, when things happened, the way they, I mean, this is a spoiler field, but like, you know, when his son ends up shooting his son's son, so like Larry's grandson gets shot and everything.
Yeah, because he brought in the Bureau of Normalcy to try and capture his dad again, and during a shootout, Larry's grandson got shot.
And I mean, I loved more digging into the rich backstory of Kay, you know, and Miranda, and then we're even alluded to that the Miranda that we have isn't really Miranda. We got from a directing point of view, I think
that was pretty crazy how she made such a terrible choice, and they assigned a new primary. It was pretty wild.
From a directing point of view, I don't like the way that they did the creation of Jane.
Yes.
I think they could have.
It went on too long.
And it's like you don't.
Very uncomfortable. It was very.
I think that is entirely the point. The reason that Kay has so many split personalities is because of what her father did, including that.
Yes.
Including that to her when she was a child.
No, I get it.
Not to mention all the other things that she did. It was entirely meant to be awkward and to show how it's actually like affecting her and effectively making it so that she made that poor decision and was taken from her position.
No, I agree with everything you just said. But I'm saying the way it was staged and shot, and I could give you like a scene-by-scene breakdown, because you could have been more effective by focusing on her and what she was going through than spending these wide-angle shots. Like, you could have done quick cutting and flash cutting and submissive cutting and more juxtaposition between your shots to really hit the emotional trauma she was facing, so that, and then just from like an artistic point of view, I feel like some of it's just like, okay, how long can we hold this? How long can we do this? And it just like, it's like, come on, like speed up a little bit of the story here, like with the way you're directing and moving your camera. But we do get to see a glimpse of Jane, don't we? Like as the conductor looking lady on the train, or did I misinterpret that scene?
No, some of her personalities look like her, and some of her personalities do not.
Because I thought we got a shot.
The conductor on the train looks exactly like Jane, like Diane Guerrero. It's another character. But yeah, it's just another one of her personalities, but it's one that looks exactly like she does in the real world.
And that's like what I thought, like, because we saw like this personality get on the train and going. And that's when, like, Jane appears. And so, I mean, I thought, like, that whole, like, her story was cool. Like, with the well. And, like, even her and Larry going. I thought was cool. I like how they kind of worked in a little bit more, like, pairs. Like, we had Cyborg working with Elasti-Woman, right? You know what they eventually call her? Elasti-Girl. It's one of those, like, shifts. And then we had Larry working with Jane in that part, and then we had Larry, and like they always kind of worked in pairs more than did like a full-on much of a group, which was kind of neat. Like to get differences, you had Jane and Cliff, and
See, my wife watches the show with me. Not a big superhero fan, but she watches Stargirl. She watches Doom Patrol with me, and she loves Jane. My wife loves Jane. She's like, my wife said, you know, the great thing about Jane, what makes her so good, is that, and how Jane was created, is just the whole fact that you have this little girl that whoever she should depend on, she can't. And I think my wife kind of relates to that as she grew up, and that's why my wife loves Jane so much. It's just you have her dad was supposed to protect her, keep her safe. Her dad was a monster, and then you have her personality starts splitting, and her primary personality is supposed to keep her safe, but still too trusting.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the real K personality, still too trusting.
It's like I feel like Miranda was a version of K.
Yes.
Like it's the closest personality we have to actual K.
Right. And so Jane had to be created out of this severe trauma as the protector. And when Jane is like, okay, I'm going to get this, was it a rabbit? Or was it, I'm trying to remember what the stuffed animal was. Was it a rabbit?
It was a rabbit.
Yeah.
Rabbit. And
Henry.
I was like, I got to get this. And Miranda's like, I know what the kid needs. I know what the kid needs. But Jane had to prove herself that, because she was created out of necessity to protect,
mm-hmm.
to protect Miranda, to protect all the personalities. And Jane had to prove herself at that point that she was worthy of everything, that she can protect herself. And I think that that's just a great story for women, for young people, just period. That
I just wonder how Jane is going to get out of the well and take back the underground.
No clue, but I'm very intrigued to see it.
I want to see a really cool scene of like showing Diane Guerrero's like talent where she's like fighting or doing something like on the physical world, mm-hmm. and all of a sudden like she's just instantaneously shifting because they're all trying to come up. Like the underground's fighting, so they're all popping up, and she's just like into like everything. Like it would be awesome to watch. Just, but Cliff I liked in this season, but at times he was a little annoying, just because I felt like he regressed more.
Yes.
I was a little heartbroken when like he goes to talk to Dr. Stone and he's like just basically like riffs him down like, I can't even help you. Like what Niles did to you was like slaughter and everything, and he's like, wow, like can't help him at all. And I'm like, man, like that's just like heartless. Like this is like the most heartless Dr. Stone.
He refuses to take part in the perversion that Niles' science and magic and everything that he's involved in.
Mm-hmm. Well, didn't Silas say like, if I would have had your body, from the get-go, I could have made you into something even better than my son. Did he say something like that?
He's talking about how he had like tissue and everything too to work with when he made Victor. Yeah. Like anymore, all Cliff is like a brain. It's just a brain inside a robot.
And I was intrigued by, okay, are we gonna get Cliff to
a robot built in the 80s and 90s, not a cyborg built in the 2010s.
Solely.
He's like the 10 Man. Like he's like the 10 Man. I think it'd be awesome, like if they did season 3 where Cliff is on this like trajectory. Let's bring in Dr. Magnus. Let's bring in Dr. Morrow. Like Cliff is like seeking out these other, metallurgists, scientists, robot people. Like, that would be very interesting to see.
Like, who the heck can really help me?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I've really come to appreciate Timothy Dalton more as an actor. Watching this, and then the other day I watched The Rocketeer. I'm like, dang, Timothy Dalton, I'm so sorry I've not appreciated you.
So, from what I've heard recently, Robot Man has actually had multiple bodies. So, the fact that he was blown to pieces, by Candlemaker's Jesus, maybe next season, Robot Man will have a slightly sleeker design.
Yeah, that's what I thought we were going to get. Like, I thought maybe at the end of the season,
well, like
would have some.
I did not expect it. I did not expect to change bodies this season.
But what's
for sure?
Progress to it.
But once again, could have been some sort of reveal of something, like had we actually got the episode we should have received for a finale.
Well, it might have been something, yeah, because like if it went like this, how it was supposed to go, and his body was destroyed, the way it was, and the way they all got waxed, that's funny. I wonder if that's an idea he had back when he was writing it. Instead of them getting whacked, they get waxed.
He was sitting around watching Wax Museum, that horrible movie that was made in 2005.
He watched The Godfather, then he watched Wax Museum.
And he's like...
Or House of Wax.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, that's what we'll do. I mean, all in all, I liked season 2, I think, better. It seemed a little bit more streamlined. I feel like it really had a trajectory that you could kind of follow.
Well, if it was planned 10 episodes, I mean, they shortened it by 5 episodes, and yeah.
And even then, it's crazy. Like, it was 9 episodes, and they dropped the first 3 on the first day.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It went pretty quick with that.
So I mean, that was only, we were like, dang, like it makes me like we talked about, like, everything's over 1 week before fandom.
Mm-hmm.
So Stargirl ended on Monday, and fandom is next week. So it's like everything's like done, so they can kind of like kickstart everything back up. So I kind of feel like maybe that's why
Stargirl's getting a season 2, and then I mean, for the most part, it pretty much seems like Young Justice season 4, Doom Patrol season 3, Titans 3, are all going to be, and probably even Harley Quinn 3 are all going to be over on HBO Max come whenever they produce and start dropping more.
So, but I kind of would have liked a little bit more history on Dorothy's like people and culture, since she kept having the vision of the woman coming to her and the Candlemaker who looked awesome.
Yeah, I think that's the whole mystery behind the Candlemaker. Like we see bits of the Candlemaker, bits of the things he can do, how powerful he is. Like, he can invade the underground on that wish and kill those superpowered personalities.
That was crazy. Got rid of Baby Doll.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Right. Killed Baby Doll and what was the name of that fiery one?
Katie?
I know we lost.
Oh, you know what? It could be Katie. I think Katie is the flying fire one.
We lost certain personalities in the underground, shutting down.
Well, I think Miranda's eliminating personalities and shutting down different stations in the underground. But the Candlemaker killed at least 2 of them, Baby Doll and Katie. But yeah, just the setup of how powerful he is, and then the reveal that he was from Dorothy's ancestors on her mother's side, and like, I'm sure the episode we didn't get or whatever would probably give us a little bit more information on what he is and how her people had created him.
Let's not romanticize about what we didn't get. Let's talk about what we did get. So, in a wrap-up, how do you guys feel about Season 2? Final thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was really good. A lot of fun. Lots carry over from Season 1. All the characters, we got so much development in Season 1 that it just hit the ground running. Each character is still dealing with a lot. This season really, especially for a couple of them, showed themselves how bad of a person they were before their accident. So they have a lot to reconcile from their past. The really, really good season. Lots of good character stuff. I am a little sad about the fact that it's a cliffhanger and there's a lot we don't know.
It's a cliff.
I was waiting for you to talk to me.
But, I'm thankful for this season actually making Brendan Fraser a verb and an adjective. To describe certain things in certain situations.
I'm a little sad that we didn't get to see as much Brendan Fraser. He was only in 1 episode, wasn't he?
And a little bit of flashbacks to Season 1, but really only one.
This season, the only time I recall seeing him was the flashback of his dad.
Yeah, I would say that we only got him that 1 episode with his dad this season. I don't know. It would have been kind of neat.
That's surprising. Yeah.
It would have been kind of neat if, when he was fighting with the Candlemaker, Jesus or whatever, or at some point with it, when they're all being attacked.
With Jesus. How much did you guys like their freaking imaginary friends?
That was crazy.
Her paper cutout, shaped person.
The Dr. Cowboy's cool.
Real weird.
He's because he was I'm just here to support you in whatever you say or do. And Victor's huh. Okay. But I just think it'd been kind of neat to do something where we intercut the scene and have Brendan Fraser there as if in the Candlemaker is making him see himself as human again, and we could, I don't know, just
Brendan Fraser should play Jesus.
That that would have been really kind of neat. Just the surreal look of his imaginary friend was himself, almost a version of himself older, he was in what he would want. Would have been kind of neat, just because it is weird, we didn't get that much of the actual actors as we did in Season 1. Yeah, it was shorter episodes, but yeah, it just kind of been cool. Because I think especially when you're shooting with Brendan Fraser, you could do scenes of him imagining when he's talking to his daughter, what he wishes it could be, and it's him in a body, him normal, and or even you could do something where it's Robot Man, I'll use that term, talking to his daughter, and you cut to a scene of him imagining, when she was invited to the wedding, of what he wishes it was, and it's Brendan Fraser dancing with his daughter in her wedding dress, or cut to a scene of Brendan Fraser holding up, the little girl, to kind of help perpetuate Cliff's anger, Cliff's frustration, the fact, the scene where it was really kind of stressful but funny, where his leg is locked up and he's like, let me use your phone. And dude's like, let me get a selfie. And he's like, shout out, blah, 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 blah. Can I use your phone now? And he's and the dude's like, that's deep. That's wicked, man. And So yeah, it would have been neat.
So my serious thoughts about Doom Patrol season 2. I like the family history. Like this season was all about family and growth and them growing from the past family to the new family. But my worry about Doom Patrol is probably my worry about Titans. Like, I don't want them to focus so much on the past and expanding the past and past stories, past memories, past mistakes. I want to see them grow more to the future.
And I agree with that. That's why I feel like I thought some things were resolved in the first season that carried over. And I get it, but I just, yeah.
What do you know what I'm trying to say?
I'm trying to look at Doom Patrol, okay? My filter I'm changing on is looking at Doom Patrol more like an HBO series than a superhero comic book series.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not. It is entirely something unique unto itself.
And that's, I think, where like I have a love-hate relationship. Is like, so, I want certain things out of it, but at the same time, I appreciate what they're giving me because it is so different.
So it's, talking about like being better moving forward. Like they're not these characters who made a mistake, learned from it, and got better. You know what I mean? They were pretty much. I mean, they weren't bad people, but they weren't good people either.
They were self-absorbed.
And yeah, they were very self-absorbed, and they made a lot of mistakes, and they hurt everybody around them with their actions. So to be good people, to be better people, they have to confront all of the pain that they've caused in the past. So, I mean, that's the story is confronting those different things that they've done and growing and being better because of it. I mean, that's the story they're telling. They're not telling a superhero story like just so happens these guys kind of save the day as they go. Even though things get messed up here and there and all over the place, like they at least stopped a couple of things from happening or reverse some things.
True. It's different. But
so,
I'm hoping
that is the story they're telling. You know what I mean? So, like you're trying to skip all that, get to a different part of a hero's journey.
We're like in the first cycle. But I hope we get our announcement for season 3. I pretty much feel like season 3 is inevitable. So I'm not too concerned. I just would like to maybe hear some details of like, oh, it's confirmed production starts this time or something. But moving from the Doom Patrol to the wondrous girl that is of the stars, let's talk Stargirl season 1, fellas.
So since we're talking about Stargirl, I thought we'd talk to the best Stargirl I know, Sayla. Sayla, you want to say hi?
Mm-hmm. Hi.
So you're Stargirl now, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. I have a Stargirl costume.
So tell me about watching Stargirl. What do you like about the show?
I think Stargirl is having her costume, her shirt, and her gloves.
Okay. So you like watching the show with me? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
What do you like most about it?
I like Stargirl get her costume.
So you like her costume? So when we watch the show, don't you like to wear your costume?
Mm-hmm.
And you do your costume changes?
Mm-hmm.
Did you really like watching the show with Daddy?
Mm-hmm.
Are you excited for season 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say to all the listeners about Stargirl and that you like Stargirl? You all done talking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazing. Perfection.
If I were to look at, like, I posed this to you guys the other day, like, just looking at all the DC shows, starting with Arrow, you know, not Smallville, because that was like its own self-contained universe pre the explosion of comic books. So starting with Arrow and going to every DC show and just looking at their first season, Stargirl is my favorite. Like, I've rewatched this season already, and before Stargirl, I would have said The Flash, but
yes, but see, I wanted to say The Flash. Like, The Flash is my number 2, and Flash is my number 2 because Flash had filler.
And that's
Stargirl had no filler.
That's the model of that type of show and series.
True.
Which sometimes filler can be good because you feel like you get a story that you're satisfied. You get action pieces and you get... Because it cracks me up, like, watching it with Sayla, because she'll be like, where's her costume, Daddy? Why isn't she wearing her costume? I'm like, she don't have it right now, baby. Oh. You know, and so it's like, it's funny because, like, in The Flash, you're guaranteed he's going to put the costume on in every episode and do something. But, like, in Stargirl's, like, she didn't wear it in an episode, and Sayla's like, ah!
I'm with her. I'm with Sayla. This is Stargirl got Courtney.
They did do a lot more costume in Stargirl for her and the other characters than they did in Titans season 2.
Oh my gosh,
Amen,
yes.
Amen, James.
Let's not even go down that.
Titans is like, what is costume?
Yeah.
They're like, we'll give you great costumes in a flashback. Thanks.
In one episode.
Last episode, we'll give you a nightwing costume. You're welcome.
That was kind of expected, but I really loved the pacing of Stargirl, the look of Stargirl, the feel. I mean, I just loved everything about it. Like, this is one of those shows I never thought, like, if I was, like, going to recommend a superhero show for someone to watch, like, this would be, I'd be like, yeah, Stargirl. They're like, who? Yeah, exactly. And I told my brother, I said, you know, if you want to watch something, like, with the kids, like, dude, watch Stargirl. And he was like, huh? And I'm like, yeah, let me tell you about this.
Stargirl. Like, and I'm a very critical person. Or negativity, whatever. I have nothing. There's nothing in this that, like, I didn't like. I felt was wasted. I felt was like, yeah. No, I loved it all. Dr. Ivo, freaking awesome. This underground layer, his, you know, being the lizard, the Dragon King space, awesome. And how he treats his daughter, you know, the whole Shiv thing, awesome. Solomon Grundy, you know, even, you know.
That was awesome.
Like, awesome. It was done well. It wasn't too cheesy. All the villains were done amazing. Their motives were amazing. Okay, my wife made a Cerebro joke. You know, at the end of the day.
My thing is...
Brainwave and Cerebro, yeah.
My thing is, I told you, like, and Cheeto, like, you got to think how long comics have been around and how many people back in the 60s would create an idea, do it over at Marvel, take that same idea, go work for DC and do the same thing. Just retweak it. Thanos, Darkseid. Man-Thing, Swamp-Thing.
Yep.
You know, Namor, Aquaman. I mean, it just back and forth. You know, Deathstroke, Deadpool, like, it goes on and on.
I feel that.
So I mean, like, you just run into, I mean,
it's just,
the X-Men ripped off Doom Patrol.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, Doom Patrol was printed before.
Some people like to say Doom Patrol is a rip-off of Fantastic Four too. So, I mean, even though Doom Patrol and X-Men are kind of closer related, some similarities are there between Fantastic Four and Doom Patrol.
Hold on, Tyler's got to show me that Doom Patrol came out before X-Men.
It did. Same year, I believe.
X-Men came out like summer of 1962, if I remember right.
All right, let's look. First appearance, My Great Adventure, June 1963. So let's see. X-Men.
Came out like July or September of 62.
X-Men #1, September 63.
Doom Patrol came out first.
Doom Patrol dropped a few months
But that wasn't
before.
Doom Patrol like it is today.
It still had the Chief in a wheelchair with
Robot
Man with his misfits and outcasts of heroes that nobody wanted. It's comics, man. Everybody rips off everybody. Like, and sometimes, and I mean, the biggest thing is I think in that case, like, I think sometimes it's an idea that just exists in the zeitgeist. Persecution, outlaws.
Okay. But when X-Men started, it was really good. Doom Patrol, and
yeah, I mean,
and then X-Men went downhill, and Chris Claremont took over. Okay.
Doom Patrol's been around for the exact same amount of time.
It's like I said,
and it's just, still here too.
It's just one of those things where everything goes back and forth.
But like, X-Men, yes, is more widely recognized.
And that's why Stargirl took Cerebro, okay?
But, okay, so...
You win, all right?
Of course I did. I'm a protege of Phil, who knows everything when it comes to comics. So, I started rewatching. I have notes downstairs.
Thank you, Google.
But I started rewatching Stargirl from the beginning with Sayla. And here's some things I picked up. First of all, you know, it opens on Christmas, the season closes on Christmas. So it's bookended beautifully. Like, if this was the one season we got, it would suck, but you could look at it like, okay, I'm good. Like, it's bookended beautifully.
Like, it's perfect.
It's perfection.
But here's things I noticed. When we first meet teenage Courtney, she's listening to Hanson's Bop acoustically,
yes,
but it's the more recent recording of the older as Hanson is now. Compared to when the series closes, it's Hanson's Bop as it was recorded back in the 90s.
Yeah, it's the original 90s version.
Look at you.
But here's some of the cool stuff I noticed is Courtney's walking around Blue Valley and sees a dad and a daughter having dinner together. It's the same dad and the daughter that are in the last episode that Icicle walks up and talks to.
Yes.
When she says something's wrong with my daddy and is like freaking out.
My dad's already a good person.
Yes, it's the same. It's the same family. And what was funny is I had watched the pilot like 3 times, and there's stuff I had forgotten. Like, we see Shade in the first episode.
Yeah, we do.
You know, so, you know, he attacks and he pulls, we see his, like...
Dr. Midnight.
Yeah, Dr. Midnight, he pulls him back. Hourman gets punched down. So you can kind of assume that Hourman escapes out the back to go get his wife, and then Grundy, you know, gets him.
Yeah, I need to watch the opening scene. Yeah, but Shane was definitely there.
And, like, I forgot, we saw Sandman. We saw Wesley Dobbs on the stairs.
Yep, Sandman was there.
So
I don't remember seeing Green Lantern.
No, you don't see Green Lantern. You see what do you call it? The Flash's helmet.
Yeah.
Now you do have to think this is a new post-crisis Earth 2.
Oh, we gotta see JJ. We gotta see JJ.
So it makes me wonder what they're trying to work out with that being post-crisis Earth 2. But yeah, we got teased Shade right there from the beginning. Mm-hmm. And I think it was cool, like, he got revealed to us at the end of the season.
And you're like,
oh yeah, we forgot he was there.
Except for those little, well, not little, but those glasses in the shadow of the picture.
And here's something
painting.
I'm going to throw out there to you guys. What if Icicle that we were in this series with was actually Icicle Jr.? And his dad was the original Icicle. Because the way his parents talked to him, like, they knew and talk about it. Like, wouldn't that be an interesting, like, twist? Instead of his son being, like, Icicle Jr., like, he was Icicle Jr.?
Yeah, that would be interesting. His son did have cold powers, though. Or at least we're starting to develop cold powers. And the only version of Icicle Jr. that I know is from Young Justice, and he's a bad guy, but he's also friends with Superboy.
Yeah, he's more like
they kind of have a love-hate relationship with each other.
I mean, there was Icicle Jr. was in Smallville. They just called it was Icicle Jr. even though like they never because they referenced his father.
Right. That's my first introduction to him. Yeah.
Then they don't really. I think they call him like Junior like one time in like a passing. But no, like
well, he visits his dad in the hospital, who had his abilities.
Can we all agree that Starman's a dick?
Yes.
Like, I mean, straight up rewatching again, I'm like, you are not like those lines that he gives could be done from a sense of compassion and like love, but it just comes off as an a-hole when he's talking to Pat. You know, and there's only a 5-year difference between Starman and Pat.
Right.
But Starman, the way he talks to Pat and the way he's like, I was his sidekick. You know who else was a sidekick? Kato. And the Green Hornet owes his life to Kato.
Damn right.
You know who else was a sidekick? Robin. But Robin was also his own hero, too. So, you know, don't make Stripesy more like the team manager. Okay?
Well, you know, I'm glad that they expanded on it because he was also with the 7 Soldiers of Victory, and
but there's 8.
They did their own thing, and a couple of them were sidekicks.
Yeah.
But there's 8 in the picture. Yeah, we know that.
But I'm just saying, like, he just, like, was really a jerk. And I was like, man, like, I would not, like, you know, Starman was his good friend, but I'm like, Starman, like, I feel like treated you like crap. And I feel like that's coming.
Well, we only do get to see one interaction, not the years he was his friend and his sidekick and, you know, his mechanic and his Alfred and what have you.
You know, so
do you think, because the mom didn't really confirm or deny whether she ever had a relationship with Sylvester?
Yeah, she did. That was the whole point of Sam Curtis showing up.
Yeah, Sam Curtis is her dad.
Yes, but
the whole point was her dad
Sam
looked
Curtis
enough
is her dad.
like Starman
is not her father.
For like that old picture for Courtney to mix them up. Like, so I mean, Starman is. I mean, even in the comics, like he's not her dad. Like, no, it is Sam Curtis.
Okay, I know.
Yeah,
okay.
it's Sam Curtis.
But what's the point of having Sylvester still be alive for season 2?
That's what I'm curious about. Because
I don't know.
One, because it builds doubt in Courtney that she's the rightful heir and that she should have the cosmic staff.
So you think he's going to want it back?
Oh heck yeah! That's the whole reason he's looking for Pat. Like, is he wants his staff back? And I wonder if it's even really him, or there's some other angle to it.
So you think that's not our Starman? That he really did die?
I think he really died, and maybe it's a reanimated, like reprogrammed, like maybe they took him and they wiped his mind and had him like Dr. Isto had it and like brainwave, they reprogrammed his mind.
I was going to say they Winter Soldiered Starman.
Yeah, basically. I mean, or something along those lines. Because I think story drama wise, it comes back. Well, now I'm back, so give me my staff. No, it's my staff now. Like, you died, you know, so it's going to come down to that, and then it's going to build this awkwardness with this relationship that Pat and Courtney have built up.
Yeah.
And now Pat's unsure because he has this relationship with Starman, but he's also going to be unsure because where have you been? Like, what happened to you? Unless it's something like Dr. Fate, you know, showed up, put Starman like in some sort of like suspended animation or sitting to like the House of Mystery.
Yeah, because to him he was dead.
Because, you know, Starman was outside of the house in the field with Pat when he died. I'm curious about where that Pat's ex. They never mentioned his ex-wife.
Nope.
Mike's mom.
Nope.
Like, she is never mentioned.
That's correct.
So that could be something in season 2 that builds drama, because we have Pat and Barbara as a tighter unit now at the end of this season. You know, and this series is supposed to focus on family.
Well, let me throw this here. Let me throw this to you. What if Starman, like Sylvester, ends up taking Mike under his wing and teaching Mike stuff?
See, the one thing I expected was maybe not to happen, but even an illusion of Mike finding the pin.
I really thought Mike was going to find that pen.
Like, even if it was just the
pen, like, he's going to get this pen at the end of the season.
Like, even if it's just him picking up the pen to write something and clicking it,
yep.
Like, as an illusion. Like, that was one thing I thought. The one thing I knew had to happen was the gift.
You know, it'll be interesting if next season his friend Jakeem comes over and they need a pen for something, they're doing homework or whatever, and he goes to Courtney's room and tosses him that pen, and Jakeem Thunder.
Exactly. I mean, it's really easy to write. Like, Jakeem has a crush on Courtney, and he's, like, snooping in her room. You know?
Yep.
For that awkward, my best friend thinks my sister's hot kind of thing. Like,
right.
Mike had the best kill, hitting Icicle with the truck.
I didn't see that coming.
Dude,
that was awesome.
Him taking the drill to Sportsmaster's back?
That was awesome. And then when Pat was like, hey, bring the drill with you.
But you know what was one of the coolest scenes that if it's like a blink and you miss it is when Sportsmaster has the bat behind him and he bounces the baseball bat to his other hand. Like, he's just like sitting there playing with it. He is bouncing it back, and I'm like, dude, that was cool. Like, Crusher, call me Crusher. Okay. He's like, see ya.
Yeah.
No, seriously, call me Crusher.
I kind of think that the young JSA shouldn't have really stood a chance hand to hand with the likes of Sportsmaster and Tigress. Like,
I don't either, but
they're supposed to be some of the most skilled killers in the DC universe, and these high schoolers are fighting them.
I liked some of, like, they did some really great moves for Courtney. Like, I think it was in the last episode where she, like, does the kick, but she grabs her leg
she comes
and
up, she
holds
grabs
it.
her foot in midair, and then lets it go and brings down that reverse kick on him.
And, I mean...
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. The choreography for the show was pretty good.
Did you guys catch that when she comes to the school? And this made me kind of wonder, by the first faculty staff member she meets is in the secretary in the office. I feel like maybe she was brainwashed already because the way she's acting and talking to Courtney. And if you notice, the American Dream Foundation is who canceled the gymnastics team. I thought that was just interesting, because Courtney, when she says, you guys had a gymnastics team last year, and she says it real quick that it was canceled by the American Dream.
Oh. Well, you know, I mean, she's the secretary in the office. The principal of the school is the fiddler. I mean, she could just play a little music, and the secretary is controlled.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Brainwashed, like, level 1 of creating the community, the school that they want.
Right.
Just a thought, you know, like, there's nothing in there, like, to really pick apart, but just a thought I had. We do meet Henry in the first episode, and he is a D-bag. I forgot, Henry, right? Or am I mixing up the two?
Henry, yeah.
Brainwave Jr.?
Henry.
Yeah. I was like, Joey, that's the good one. Joey, yes. I forgot he called Yolanda a slut in the first episode.
Did Henry do it?
Yeah, Henry did. He comes up to her at the lunch table and says something to her. He's like, I smell slut.
Yeah. Wants to see what pictures or what new pictures are in her phone, that kind of stuff.
Because he grabs Courtney's phone, he's like, what's in here? Are you like her? And Courtney's like, give it back, and punches him. And I was like, yeah.
I totally forgot about that, because when we get to the episode about Wildcat, this is like episode 2 or 3? 3.
It's 4.
Or whatever. I thought it was the Shiv chick that sent the photo out.
It is.
It wasn't really Henry.
it makes you later. I feel like they try to cast some doubt on it. Like, was she influencing him in some way because of who she was and who he is?
Yeah. I didn't really think Henry sent it out at all. But then he like asked for forgiveness at the end.
Well, he's being manipulated by her. He could easily be influenced by his father into behaving a specific way.
And his death was powerful.
Yeah, it was.
I would have liked maybe one more episode with him, just as he's unraveling. Like you said, like maybe everything in his life he realized was like his father influencing or making him do it, and he's like really unraveling more as a person because he never felt like he made his own choices. But could we just talk about the gut punch moment? Is we have a scene of Yolanda talking to Rick, and he's ready to kill Solomon Grundy. And she's like, we don't kill, it would be easy, blah, blah, blah. She's giving that kind of superhero speech.
Mm-hmm.
And then she fights all those sand zombie people. And then all of a sudden I got excited because, the dude pulls off the hood and it's Henry. And I'm like, yes, he didn't die. And then she realizes it's really Brainwave and just slashes his throat without hesitation.
I texted you immediately.
Yes, you did.
I was like, yes. This is the character development we need, yes.
And I mean, it is, because it shows she's cool and collected in her thoughts until her emotions took over.
Yes.
So, she's like being that spark towards Rick, to this, to guiding, and now she has to carry that weight. Not only did she do what she did, but she literally talked him out of doing it.
The wildcat becomes the wild card.
So, yeah, I mean, she in a sense saves Rick from the pain that she now has and the weight that she carries.
Yeah, you can see it on her already just as they're out on the bleachers in that scene outdoors.
And that's going to carry over into season 2 as a great way to position her character. You know what I really want to see happen in season 2?
Green Lantern.
No, forget Green Lantern. Because we're not going to get Green Lantern.
No, F you.
We're not going to get Green Lantern. He's too big for them.
We're getting a Green Lantern show.
So if we get anything, it'll be off screen references, and then we'll get some sort of flashback, just stunt actor. We won't get a character.
We're gonna get Diggle as Green Lantern on that Superman show. So why can't we announce
No, we're not.
Probably unlikely.
No, because David Ramsey's not signed anything, nor even talked about coming back after Arrow's done. He's walked away done.
No.
So unless he comes out,
you're wrong.
But
Bryan
just tackled Tyler.
You know why crocodiles have trouble with teeth? They're all mad because they got their teeth and no toothbrush.
I want to see Yolanda just walk in and punch her mom and dad in the face, and then roundhouse.
That would be satisfying.
No, I mean, I just want her to be I want them to see something like Wildcat, and then her tell her parents I'm Wildcat later on after you hear them talk about how heroic blah 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 blah, and then she's yeah, Fafanaffally. But
how are we gonna fix Chuck?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe that's something that Starman could help out with. I'd be going to the old JSA headquarters and checking crap out, seeing what else is there. And Courtney was there and took all that stuff.
I really liked Henry Thomas's voiceover as Chuck. It was really good.
I feel I want to see a little bit more with Beth.
Yeah, man. She didn't wear a costume most of the time.
She didn't wear a costume. She was growing into her character. Her parents basically don't care about her. She's a wonderful...
She's the parent to her parents.
Yeah. And she's a wonderful person. You just look at
she was taking care of her parents, making sure they had their lunch to go and stuff. And when she finally got a friend, it was something. It was different.
She's that person that's so happy and good all the time that everyone forgets about because they forget that she has problems, to where I feel she gets ignored.
Yeah.
And that's going to be kind of her angle. Is like she's going to have problems because everyone's so wrapped up in themselves that they forget about her, and now she doesn't even have her friend Chuck. That's like what she's going to have problems with. And we I was reading. We'll see if the production is shift to the CW or if it's going to be on the CW.
I hope it only airs on CW.
I mean,
I do not want the production shifted to the CW.
Hell yeah, James.
I mean,
that would destroy the pacing. It would mess up the storytelling.
It would become a new show. It would
be completely different. It wouldn't be the same.
In season 2.
We haven't even got that far yet, but it would be like a Superboy season 2.
There you go. Like, even my wife was like, watching Stargirl, the first episode of Stargirl. She's like, my gosh, the quality of this is great.
I mean,
if they expanded it at anything more than 16 episodes, 3 more episodes, if they expanded it anything more than 16 episodes,
we're in trouble.
It would do a disservice.
I kind of look at it like Black Lightning. They shoot Black Lightning in Georgia. They're shooting Stargirl in Georgia.
Yeah.
Black Lightning, has a little bit different of a production behind the scenes because it was originally being developed at Fox, and Fox passed, so the CW picked it up. That's why I think the first season stands out a little bit more than the latter seasons do, because I feel like the latter seasons were more CW-fied.
Sure.
So I'm really hoping that Stargirl will kind of be a little bit more like that, and they'll play in and maybe like they'll have some more fun with the fact it's on another Earth than what we're used to seeing.
Yeah, because everything on the CW is all Earth Prime.
Yep. Because I told you, it'd be kind of because we always had Pat like driving an old car, listening to there's always like this 50s music. I'm like, it'd be kind of cool if you gave the costume designs or whatever all the adults had this retro 40s fashion style, like a modern 40s, and then all the kids were modern 50s, and everything. Just little things maybe throw in some dialogue about alt history that we don't know about because it is Earth 2. We can have some fun with because remember original Earth 2 was very 1950s sci-fi.
Yeah.
And so that would be cool to play around with.
That's where Harry came from.
But I could not A+ for this series. I could not recommend Stargirl more. Sayla loves it, and this series was everything I had hoped it would be and more. I wanted a show that I could watch with my kids. I wanted something that I could feel comfortable with my kids watching. That was positive, that was fun, that was family oriented, because I was already upset that so much of the content that DC had out was not for that. They're not grooming and building the next generation of fans.
They were when we were kids. We had Superman the animated series, we had Batman the animated series, Justice League, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, kid friendly stuff.
Lois and Clark.
Yep, Lois and Clark. Now it's screw the kids.
Yeah, everything's will be dark, and
2000 something. Since early 2000.
They're not really building that next level. We've had a lot of failed. Even Young Justice season 3 proved they took it more in for the adult fans that wanted Young Justice. Season 1 is still fun to watch with the kids. We watched season 3 with the kids, but you could tell the pacing and certain things it was a little bit more disjointed.
But what do the kids got? They got Teen Titans Go
and superhero girls.
Yeah. Come on.
And we pretty much. What would surprise me is if at Fandom they revealed there's going to be a season 2 of Justice League Action.
Boom.
That'd be cool.
That would be awesome.
Put my buddy Jason J. Lewis back to work as the voice of God. Superman.
You just said James was the voice of God.
On Earth. So you got to pay attention to the extra stuff I throw on here.
Let me tell you. I'm sorry. I'm a deaf guy, okay? I don't hear everything all the time, okay? I miss some stuff.
I know. But seriously, like, I say that, like, as a defender for children because, you know, this stuff meant so much to me when I was younger, and I want to share it with my kids, and I want my kids to have something where I don't have to explain things all the time or, like, cut around things or skip stuff because the content is just too much for them. You know, there's a lot of stuff I let my kids watch that maybe I shouldn't. I don't know.
Yeah, they were really enjoying The Boys the other day.
Shut up, Bryan. They were not.
He had gills on his stomach, Dad.
They were not. But yeah, Stargirl is just, I don't know, it's so funny that that's the character that I'm like, the show that I'm in love with. Like, that I would watch over any of the other shows. And I'm really enjoying, like, Sayla and I think we're on Shift Part 1 in our full rewatch. And Sayla's already like, where's Season 2, Daddy?
I saw Season 2 last night.
She even said it tonight when Bryan and I were sitting here. She's like, they do Season 2 for Stargirl? Yeah, baby girl, not yet, baby.
Well, when they were having dinner, and I'm sitting with them, they were like, hey, what are you going to do for Halloween? What are you going to be? I'm like, man, I don't know. Like, I have some ideas. And Sayla's just like, yeah, I'll be Stargirl. Hey,
She's already got the costume for it.
Coming out. I was like, I don't know. Let's just send it out. Mm-hmm. Well, they need to drop that. They need to put it out right now. And Sayla's like, that's all she talks about. That's funny.
It is great. I mean, she loves watching it so much that when we were watching the final episode, if Courtney had a costume on, Sayla put her Stargirl costume on, and as soon as the scene would change without Courtney in a costume, Sayla's doing a costume change. Like, it was adorable. Like,
that's awesome.
So, and that's what I wanted for my daughter. You know, she's really gotten into Supergirl right now, too, but I don't think she's connected with the show. And I'm actually going to rewatch Season 1 of Supergirl here soon because I've just kind of been wanting to see how that season was, like, looking at the idea of, like, it was on the CW, or on the CBS to the CW, like, what that can look like. What was lost, what was gained, besides just, like, actors and things like that. Any other final thoughts on the greatest show that DC has produced called Stargirl?
Is it the greatest show that
it's a bold claim, but it was a damn good season.
Of Season 1. Everything I say is based on the first season, because you can't compare a show that's been on for 8 seasons to a show that just started. Now, you can go season by season and compare stuff, but I can't say Stargirl's better than The Flash, you know, because then I have to go back and look at, well, how's Flash Season 1? Or say, like, Stargirl's better than Arrow, well, how is Arrow Season 1? Stargirl still wins. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't compare overall.
I think once you go to Season 3 of Arrow, then Stargirl beats it.
Stargirl beats Arrow Season 1.
Yes.
Like, because Arrow Season 1 was such a hard, like, acceptance of, like, okay.
This is not Batman.
Yeah, like, you guys wanted to do Batman but couldn't, so you decided to do Green Arrow. And I always feel like that's Green Arrow's, like, disservice in live action. It's like, we can't do Batman.
I was going to say, that's kind of like how it was when he was written.
Yep.
But he was written by a different company.
Like, I want to write Batman, but we got to write...
He was created by a different company to compete with Batman. So he was, in essence, very, very, very similar because they were trying to compete with Batman. So it makes sense that they would have these similarities. But, I mean, he's evolved so much in the comics. But then when they bring him in live action, like, they wanted to do Bruce Wayne on Smallville. Couldn't do it. Put in Oliver Queen.
Yep.
But they could do it.
It was vetoed and shut down. Because much like Superman and Batman properties,
They want to keep them separate. Like it boggles my mind listening and reading about how Warner Brother controlled properties that we ever got Superman Returns and Smallville at the same time.
Yeah.
But Warner Bros.
Pretty much.
They do own it all. They could, but they don't want it. They don't want to dilute their property.
And that's the stupid thing.
Which is, once again, like that's why they killed the Suicide Squad off on Arrow. They didn't want to have a Suicide Squad on TV and in the theaters, so they killed off every character that was attached to the Suicide Squad. That's why
and
they
literally 4 years later, they want it all.
That's
but
why
it's different people, and they understand that we want it all, and people can handle it all.
That's why, I mean, I was shocked as much as they ended up using
it's even different audiences who are watching it on TV, and some of the audiences are different when you go to like big screen and live action. You know, a lot of the general public who's watching these movies in the theaters, they're not watching them on TV in these shows.
Right. And the people who are know how to do it.
They know exactly that it's a different thing when they go to the theater.
They cut Harley Quinn out of Arrow.
Yeah.
Because we were going to have the Harley Quinn in the Suicide Squad movie. I'm very surprised that
that's why they pulled Deathstroke off of Arrow. It's because they wanted to use Deathstroke. That's why they killed off Deadshot in Arrow. Because they wanted him on the movies.
And
they brought him back.
They eventually brought Deathstroke back for like a couple episodes to kind of tie up an arc.
I know they brought Deathstroke back, but did they bring Deathstroke back?
No. He appeared later as Floyd Lawton, or maybe it was on as a Flash when they went to Earth 2. And I have to look back at the dates. But yeah, I mean, they sabotaged themselves because they didn't want stuff to carry over, and then it boggles my mind how they got away with why they wanted to put Superman in Supergirl with all the stuff that you read about. And at the same time, I mean, Superman came to Supergirl in season 2, which was 2016, the same year BVS was released. So, I mean, that's crazy right there. Just because you read about everything else, they're like, no, don't look at that. No, this is what you do. This, okay, but we want to use this character. No. This character's over here.
Yeah, it's stupid. And you know, they were like, all these characters are over here, but it's like, well, you're not even connecting the things, so what's the point?
Any other final thoughts, dear gentlemen? Here's we wrap it up.
If you haven't watched Stargirl yet, which probably boggles my mind for anybody who's listening, but
yeah, that's the one.
Definitely watch it and share it with your family and friends.
Watch Stargirl. Do it.
And watch Doom Patrol.
Alone.
Do it now.
All right. On that note,
you Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Do it now.
Do it now.
I just think when I hear "do it," I think of Arnold. I think of Emperor / Senator Palpatine, and then I think of Ben Stiller in Starsky and Hutch. Do it.
Look up in the sky.
Look up in the sky.
Look at the sky.